Let's get on to some like new info discussion about Fatal Fury, right? Because the train doesn't like stop there. There's actually like more content. Let me see like my bookmarks. So there is like a teaser site, right? That opened up I think like a day after Fatal Fury got like announced. After 26 years, Fatal Fury is back. New rev system supercharges the excitement. Fatal Fury first hit the market in 1991. The first like spearheading the fighting game boom in the 1990s has for some time served as all about to change. Yeah, but like the official website looks sick. These are like playable characters that we have seen so far. Damn, there are gonna be like 2 games that are gonna be playable at EVO Japan, right? It's gonna be this game and the Hunter x Hunter fighting game, which is confirmed to be a 2D fighter. So wow, 2 games, and we're gonna see info on Hunter x Hunter like next month. All new rev system, right? So this is gonna be like their gameplay mechanic for the new Fatal Fury. Introducing the rev system, a brand new toolset that offers unique offensive options from the moment the battle begins. Use rev arts, rev axle, rev blows while SPG is active, and more until you hit your limit and the rev meter overheats. So we got like a kind of like a Street Fighter 6 like thing, right? So like Street Fighter has like drive. Now SNK has rev. So, a little bit of like a car motif here and there, like beep beep. Classic battles systems evolved, back in full force and then some. Combination attacks, just defense, braking, dodge attacks, feints, SPG, selective potential gear. Classic battle systems from the Fatal Fury series returned to the fold after more than 25 years. And we're gonna go over them like each one, evolve for the modern day. Buckled up for red hot action. And there's gonna be control schemes. We're in this like modern day, right? Where we're not just like situated with one like control scheme. We now have like easy, classic, dynamic, modern, classic control schemes for every of our modern like fighting games, you know? Special style. So we have like 2 control schemes. Arcade style, based on, you know, I mean, as like the definition states, precise technical inputs, right? Because you gotta support like the FGC boomers out there, you know? While smart style lets you perform flashy special moves and combos using directional inputs and single button presses. So modern controls, gotcha. From fighting game newcomers to seasoned veterans, there's plenty of fun and excitement to be had, tailored specifically to your level. So I got a little bit of like gameplay, control schemes, stuff like that. Not anything for like story or anything. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be saving up the story stuff for like later. We even got impression videos, right? So we have, let's say, so a lot of like content creators went out to the SNK booths at like I think like Hollywood or something like that, and select FGC content creators got the chance to play Fatal Fury. Yeah, they're really amazed at this new Fatal Fury game, how it plays, how it feels, how it's like somewhat similar to Street Fighter 6, KOF 15, and it involved like Gaara. Yeah, but this is the UI of Fatal Fury, right? It looks very clean, like in my honest opinion. I definitely like the colors and everything. I definitely like the character portraits. Got this like 90s like pop vibe to them with the character portraits. It looks super fucking sick. Everything is super like flashy and like artsy. Really like reminds me of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was definitely inspired by like comic book art style aesthetics, right? Definitely this is where SNK is going with with Fatal Fury, man. It looks so fucking like sublime and so like definitely pretty. You know, like a Street Fighter or a Tekken where it's like a lot of like high def resolution and like Unreal Engines and stuff like that. No, this KOF and like Guilty Gear excel on like animations, right? And this is where they like excel at.
But you want to hear about gameplay.
Yeah, gameplay.
And let's talk about gameplay. So, in the past, I haven't always been the hugest fan of Gauro as a game in general. My biggest gripe was that Rock Howard in that game is notoriously trash. He's really bad in it, and he doesn't really take advantage of most of the gameplay mechanics super well.
Yeah, and that's really true, right? Because like, again, this is like a Gauro like Fatal Fury sequel. It's a Gauro Fatal Fury sequel, and a lot of like Gauro is like really old. It's still like being played to this day by like community funded or like crowd funded like tournaments. But it's definitely like a unique fighting game for a lot of like different in-depth mechanics that you normally don't see, but once you like experiment them, it definitely like is a game that's like treasured and like beholded, you know? Gauro had like a top system, right? And top system in Gauro is basically like you can select like a portion of your health near like 25% mid lane or even like at the beginning. And what top lane is, or in this case SPG, is basically like a power boost for your character when you play a game or a match against somebody. It does like enhance moves for you. It allows access to certain specials that you couldn't access to without like special gear, if I'm like mistaken. But top system is like you get to choose which like point of your health you want the SPG or top gauge like to be, and you just become like, you know, a mega beef monster just rolling over people. Breaks and feints, right? A few like characters can like break parts of their special move animations. Like they can break or like cancel the first animation of like a Terry like rising tackle, for example, or a power dunk, and they could go for more swaggy sauce, right? And we've seen like breaking before in other SNK games, right? KOF especially. KOF had like, I don't know if Terry had like a break system, but Rock, B Jenny, Gato, and King of Dinosaurs all had like breaks with certain special moves that can keep like the juggle, that can keep like the combo juggle like still like going, you know? So you can definitely do a lot with like break system, and this was like also there in the original Gauro, where you can like cancel frames of certain like moves or special moves and just keep like the combo going. Excuse me. A lot of gameplay mechanics that were unique to Gauro and are now like evolved in this game.
What's crazy about City of the Wolves is it seemingly takes almost everything from the previous game. So I can just go off the top of my head the things that are in here. Feints are in here, which is cool. They can lead to unique combo opportunities, if not just cancel situations for like fake fireballs. Break attacks are also in here, so similar to, most of this is going to be coming from a Terry and Rock Howard perspective. Break attacks are in here. Terry can break like the shoulder check, Rock can break rising tackle, so it's like, ooh, there's some natural, pretty great combo extensions in here. And the top attacks are back. You can cancel into them at any time if you're in the, I think it's the SPG state. So this SPG
top attacks are also there.
That characters are in do quite a bit. The big one is that your health gauge gradually recovers over time. Your power gauge builds up in larger increments. Your rev meter, which we'll talk about in a second, also goes up in smaller increments. And generally your attacks become more powerful, and you also get access to other SPG abilities, kind of like the top attacks from Gauro, but they act a little bit different now. And sort of the big SPG top attack is kind of like a drive impact in some ways. Again, we didn't get a ton of opportunity to mess around with this, but it feels like it has armor. It slows down time with the other player if they both collide at the same time. And then last but not least, you get access to your super special, like I think they call it the hidden gear super, and you can only do this super when you're in the
So as like what Max said, there a lot of like similarities between this game and Street Fighter 6, right? And Rev is like the clear like foremost front of that like similarity archetype, right? So in Rev for Fatal Fury, you have like a lot of things like Rev Blow, Rev Axel, right? You have a lot of things that were dominant in like older Rev Arts. A lot of things that were dominant in like in the previous version of this Fatal Fury, like Garo, all like take over all like are evolved and like refreshed here. So you have like this like rev system, right? And you see it like in the bottom. A little bit different from the drive gauge of SF6. What essentially is that over the course of time, whether you're, I think like building, whether you're getting hit or building damage, you enter this state called rev. And of course you have like 2 bars of meter that like signifies that your supers are heavily available at your like disposal. But what rev is that you can do like Street Fighter 6 like drive impact, which is like rev blow. I think they like shows it over here. Yeah, this move, right? So most characters like flash green and like entered like an invincible armor state property. So when they glow, it's like literally whoever does like the ladder hit like next wins. Oops. So and they get like a huge follow-up combo after a rev blow. So you get like a literal drive impact, which is like, yeah, I kind of like called this shit before. There's also rev axles, and rev axles are like your drive rush combo extenders. After like, you know, a certain like normal in Street Fighter 6 that's like cancelable, you can cancel it into a drive rush like sequence and just like keep the combo going. But in here, it's a little bit elevated that you can essentially like rev axle from EX moves. So you can do stuff like EX like rocks like shoulder tackle hard edge into like the dunk and go for like crazier shit. So that's like rev axle. And then of course you have like rev arts, which are like your EX moves. Yeah, so in combination you can do like rev axle to like rev art, rev axle to like rev art, or like your like EX moves in this game. And they are so like fucking fun. Holy like shit. Garo stuff with the rev arts, with the rev blows and rev axles. So you can do a lot of like crazy shit with rev blows, rev arts, all of like the rev system. However, here's the funny thing. In contrast to Street Fighter 6's like drive system, where if you do a lot of drive moves like drive rush or drive parries or drive reversals, you'll enter burnout. And in burnout in Street Fighter 6, as many of you are aware, you don't have access to your EX moves. You don't have access to a lot of the things that the drive gauge allows you to do. And of course you get negative effects, right? With enhanced like chip block. Things will become more minus in certain like block strings than they were when you had drive gauge. So it's very negative minus that you shouldn't enter burnout state. In here, there is a state called over rev or overheat, right? So overheat is basically I wonder if it's like somewhere like down here. Yeah, like the rev gauge like revs up all the way up to like 99%. So that means you have unlimited access to your rev moves until you enter a state called overheat. And overheat is basically you've used up all of like your resources. You were like too aggressive. So when that happens, you don't have access to your special moves, if I'm like mistaken, right?
So now he can't use any rev meter.
Oh.
So so he can't use any EX moves. He can't do rev blow. He can't do rev push block. And now he takes his guard bar, so he has to be careful because that's when.
Oh, that's it. Okay. So thank you, Justin. Holy shit. All right. So like how Justin Wong says, I might have like missed it in the Max video, but like if you also get into like overheat when you're blocking opponent's moves. So not only does the rev meter increase when you do more hits, but also you get more rev when you're blocking attacks, like blocking strings, right? So the game tries to encourage players to not just be total like defensive, but also be totally but not also be totally offensive as well. So have like a balance of both. Yeah, he is a ninja. He's evolved. He did like an Izuna drop. Yep, that's the grappler class. And like, I can't wait to play like T-Zoc in this game. I'm actually fucking interested. The fact that like I liked King of Dinosaurs in KOF 15, and you could do like rev like axle combos after like a backdrop is like, oh shit, I wonder what you can do, you know? But yeah, essentially like overheating is similar to like burnout. And if you get overheated, you don't have access to your rev bar, you don't have access to your EX moves, your big yellow flash EX moves, and you don't have access to like rev blow and all that stuff, right? So you're heavily like minus, and there is no like guard break or like guard stun like you have in like KOF 15. But once you get into overheat, then like your guard gauge will deplete whenever you like block an opponent's attack. And we know deadass for certain that in KOF 15, getting block stun or guard stun is a big like no-no. So you want to like avoid that at all costs, you know? So yeah, the game wants to encourage you with this overheat system to, you know, have like a balance of both, right? You can be super offensive, you can be super defensive, but it's like the game is like it's encouraging you to have like a balance of both, you know? Which is very different from like Street Fighter 6, right? Because in Street Fighter 6, the drive system is like your resources, right? And you can just like fuck it all with resources, right? Unless you're like a Japanese player, right? Because Japanese players are different from like Westerners, where Westerners, you know, expend their drive gauge to go for the kill. No, Japanese people conserve their Japanese players conserve their drive gauge in Street Fighter 6 for the most idealist of situations, right? Since they're, you know, super adaptable and everything, right? But with the rev system is very much like a different take, because on block you'll get overheat, on attack you'll get to overheat, right? So it's encouraging you to, you know, mix it up a little bit. Don't be too offensive, don't be too defensive, right? Have a little bit of both and conserve like meter. Which of course, you know, this is like SNK, this is KOF. It can be very fast-paced if it needs to. It's not a Street Fighter 6 where it can be footsie. I mean, KOF 15 from the tournament can be very footsie-esque, we'll have to like see from like this game, but you know, there's a lot of like movement for like a 1v1 like type of like fighter, you know? So each game has like their own, you know, footsie like element. They other than the rev system, they have like 2 bars of like meter, and it's very similar to Garo Mark of the Wolves, where they have like a level 1 version of their super and they have like a level 2 version of their super, which is like when the screen like goes to like comic book panels, and the characters can do like insane like high damaging super stuff. And of course, as what Justin Wong and Maximilian_Dude said, there is a hidden there is a hidden special move, or a gear special move, which is like, huh? What the fuck? I mean, of course, I didn't like play it. I'm only like watching and like reviewing. Huh, you get to have like hidden special moves, and it's activated if you have like your top gauge and both of your super bars up. So that's really interesting, right? They have like super like special moves, you know? Or like what was it, Samurai Showdown like meteor special moves. So that's really like crazy that it has that. Another like noticeable change from like these videos, and I've like watched them all, and I've watched them both, sorry. Throws are now like light punch and light kick. So they're dual buttons, which is very funny in comparison to like KOF 15 or like KOF 14, where they're like close proximity grabs, where you input like forward heavy punch or forward heavy kick to get the grab. So yeah, that's going to be changed now, and they're not going to be 1 frame startup from what I've heard correctly. So yeah, this game is going to be like kind of like a traditional like 1v1 like fighter, but with just like Street Fighter 6-esque like mechanics in there. There's gonna be like big like punish counter hits, rev blow like enders. Yeah, so like this game is like, you know, kind of nutty. 1v1 enjoyers like rise up, yeah. But it definitely is like SNK'S their like answer to Street Fighter 6, right? Which is, you know, it's not a bad thing, right? You know, like in the history of like fighting games tend to like, you know, borrow like notes from each other, that in that sort of like manner, right? I've been calling like most of these like new fighting games after Guilty Gear Strive very like anime-esque, because a lot of like characters from their like games like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter 6 borrow elements from Guilty Gear Strive, because every fighter is like unique from one another, and that's, you know, really like a good thing. In the past, a lot of like fighting games just like borrow notes from like, you know, just their own like respective games, but it's like and most of them just like tend to borrow like Street Fighter or Marvel vs. Capcom, you know, sort of thing. The old school like rivalry between Capcom and SNK. They were always like, you know, trying to like one up of each other ever since like in the 90s with their fighting games. One's more Street Fighter-esque or 1v1, sometimes, you know, team-based. The other is also like team-based, but also 1v1, and like have like a little bit uniqueness across their own fighting game brands across the board, sort of thing. But yeah, like fighting games take like notes from each other, and that's not really like a bad thing. Unless you're like really picky and want like something very like original, which let me tell you, you're not gonna find something like original. If you want to look for anything like original, probably play Killer Instinct or God of Rock. Well, Killer Instinct also takes notes from like SNK games, because the main like combo string is just like a reference call from SNK's like Beat Rush combo, or like their big like Neo Deadly Rave combos. But God of Rock is like a definitely like unique take of like a fighting game, because what it does is you input like musical notes as your combos. You input like musical notes as like supers, stuff like that. So that's a really like unique take if you want something very like original. But in traditional like fighting games, nah, they're gonna like borrow notes. But yeah, like Fatal Fury definitely looking something mighty nice, let me tell you, boy. Like holy shit. Like I said, or like on like Sunday when I was like tweeting about like this game, I am in love with Fatal Fury, right? Because, you know, everybody knows me, like I'm a big like SNK guy. I love like King of Fighters as of like recently in like my college years. Well, I wouldn't say recently, well, say in my college years, like a few years ago. And I love like the lore, I love like the characters. They have a lot more like pop than some of like other like fighting games do, in like my opinion. But it definitely, SNK still has like its like woes and like hurdles, right? Of course, you know, KOF 15 did not really do so well because of like their errors that they like dealt with like matchmaking, and of course it launched between two massive AAA budget titles in like February of 2 years ago. So KOF is still like strong, but it doesn't have the major appeal like a Mortal Kombat or a Street Fighter or a Tekken, right? No, it's unfortunately, you know, sidelined because not many people, unless you're a fighting game fan, play SNK games, you know? The closest thing you'll like remember of like SNK is probably Capcom versus SNK back in the PS2. So that's one like example or one like exemption, but still it's like not so much, you know. But I'm glad that like SNK is like, you know, revitalizing themselves, you know, like the best game that SNK has made like in modern like times is like KOF 13, but ever since like 14, SNK has been really trying to get onto like the 3D Unreal Engine like flow, and KOF 14 didn't work so well, right? Because it was an experimental phase. A lot of characters look really like jank and squirrel like. There was not a lot of like shadows or like textures in there. But their follow-up games, which were Samurai Showdown, KOF 15, definitely like brought them up. Oh, and I forgot there was SNK Heroines. Yeah, the waifu as fuck tag team fighter, right? Which I should like play that. I don't think I have that on Steam, but it was a very interesting title to say the least, you know. But yeah, man, KOF or SNK is like back, and Garo Mark of the Wolves is like a crisp, clean, like evolved form of all of like the trial and error stuff that SNK has been doing with a lot of like their games as of recent, graphically wise. Now Garo looks like a fucking like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 like art style to it, and it like so like pops in front of your face, right? It feels like you're going back to Marvel vs. Capcom 3 with the shadows and the lighting and like the physics and the comic book background style when you do like supers or like ultra moves, you know? And once again, you know, like gotta give like a shout out to like my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching like the videos for at least Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for like John Talbane and Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, right? Y'all did like extreme number of like work just like getting those like views up, right? Yeah, man, I was so surprised that like Fatal Fury got like so many like views up in the span of like what, a few days since like Sunday. Thank you guys so much. So y'all better believe I'll be making like more SNK content, right? SNK content, KOF content. I'll definitely be playing like Garo, like the OG, just to like get like appreciation and understand what makes like the game like so special. You know, but we'll do that like another time.